So first, what am I not covering? I won't be showing you guys how you build a website in Zoho Sites. I'm sorry if that's what you came here for. I will talk about Zoho Sites and we can answer questions about it, but I'm not going to show you like how you build a site from scratch. I'm not going to talk about website content, what's the best content to make, what should you be making, though I will share you some links at the end. We have a great resource on this exact topic. I won't be covering SEO, and I won't be covering step-by-step setup instructions. But what I am covering, tools that are going to work with any website builder. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different Zoho applications today. And this is a question that always comes up is, does this only work with Zoho Sites? No, it works with Zoho Sites and WordPress and Joomla and Wix and Squarespace and all of these website builders or CMSs. All of these things are going to be compatible with the tools that I'm showing you today. I'm going to show you how you can add functionality onto your existing website. So I am assuming you've already got your site up and running in case you came here to like, how do I build my website and get it launched? I'll talk a lot about how you can collect more data using your website and make it more interactive. And I'll be giving you an overview of a bunch of applications included in Zoho One and the use cases of what they're for. So the agenda, this is basically how I'm going to break it down. There are three main sections. So the first section, I'm going to talk about collecting leads. You can do that with web forms and with SalesIQ, which is a live chat tool. Then I'll talk about web portals. So portals are like things you can add onto your website where there's like a login. People maybe have some kind of an account and they can sign in and see information that's just for them. And so there's different types of portals that you can create using these various Zoho applications that can serve your customers or your employees or vendors or partners you do business with. And then finally, last section is going to be on analytics and optimization. So that's going to be pretty much all about Zoho Page Sense. So that's where we're headed. I hope you like that. And a lot of this session today is going to be live demo. So I'll let you know whenever we're switching over. All right, so first, collecting leads. Capturing leads with forms is the most basic way to capture leads. I think forms are actually a really underrated tool. They just kind of like sound boring. You know, when you hear forms, you think of like the DMV or the doctor's office, which isn't very fun. But actually, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can use forms in Zoho, and they're super flexible. So before I get jumping into the demo real quick, I just want to explain here. There's basically three main applications that you can build forms from in Zoho One. And so when people hear that, they go, oh my God, that's complicated. How do I know which one I should be using? But don't worry, that's what I'm here to help you figure out. So first one, Zoho Campaigns. So Zoho Campaigns is our email marketing tool for sending like mass bulk emails. It has its own form builder built into Zoho Campaigns. And it's just a really like simple form builder. It's best for like if you're trying to build a mailing list and you just want to collect people's emails who are interested in getting a newsletter or something like that. It's very simple. Usually it's just a name and an email or just an email. The cool thing that it has that these other ones don't really have is pop-up forms. So if you've ever been on one of those websites where there's like a little pop-up that appears after you've been on the page for 10 seconds and it says, hey, sign up for our newsletter and you'll get a 10% off coupon. You can do that with Zoho Campaigns. Okay, next one is CRM forms. So Zoho CRM, it's going to be your central customer repository. Most of you are probably already using it because that's kind of what Zoho's most known for. It's best for doing lead forms. So if you want to collect more than just somebody's email who wants to join a mailing list, maybe you want a contact me form on my website where it's going to have the name and their phone number and maybe a text box where they can say what they're looking for, put in some questions. Then you can build something like that in Zoho CRM. And what's great about it is because you build it in Zoho CRM, all of your information automatically gets dumped into your CRM, which is cool. And it has things built in where you can control like is this going to always add a new person to my CRM? Or what if somebody fills this out, but they're already in my CRM? Should it update their record? It has controls for stuff like that, so you can prevent duplicate information from going into your system. You can trigger sales processes off of these. So as soon as someone fills out that form, then you can add some tasks where a salesperson has to follow up with them, or an automated email, stuff like that. And then kind of one of the nifty, cool new things in CRM is that it supports A/B testing. So you can actually create two different versions of the same form and then see which one helps you reach your goals more. So for example, maybe you put like a contact form on your site and you want to test, well, is it more worthwhile to put a bunch of fields on there and collect all of the information I want up front? Or if I do that, does it scare everyone away and no one actually fills it out? So it's really just better to put only a few fields and then collect the other information later, right? So that's the kind of thing you can learn through A/B testing. And then finally, the one that I will actually be showing you today is Zoho Forms. So there is an application included in Zoho One, which is specifically just for making forms. Because of that, Zoho Forms is going to be the most powerful and the most flexible option that you'll have. So it gives you the most options of controlling how your form looks, and it gives you a lot of control over how you integrate that form with your other applications. So it integrates with 13 different applications. It also supports a bunch of things that these other form builders don't, that are more advanced. So if you want to do UTM tracking, for example, if you have a landing page, you want to track the source of how you got someone who landed on that page and then filled out the form, then Zoho Forms actually has a thing built in to help you do that. You can do multi-page forms, which is kind of cool. There's all kinds of possibilities. I'll cover some of those in a bit. So I'm just going to check the questions real quick. All right. Yes. Okay. Somebody is upset. Great. Well, hopefully I can answer some of your questions today, or Victoria can answer some of your questions. I will not be checking the questions like every minute while I'm presenting. I'm just going to kind of keep talking, but I will periodically check. And mostly I will answer questions at the end. So you can ask things anytime, and Victoria will try and get to you. Otherwise, I will get to you at the end of the session. All right. So with that all being said, I'm going to jump over and switch into my demo mode here. So just give me 1 second to switch over. And I will do this window. Okay. So you should all be seeing a website that says we set the small stuff, and it has this little scroll thing. If you cannot see this website, just scream at me in the comments, and I'll make sure that everyone can see. So usually if you're having issues seeing but no one else is, it's just a matter of refreshing. If you refresh, it won't kick you out of the session. It should just reload everything. Okay. So I am going to start with this website that was built in Zoho Sites. So if you want to see just kind of an example of what Zoho Sites can do, this is a good example of it. So this is for a design agency which we made up called Out of Lines. It's just a fake company that we built a website for, and there's a whole bunch of stuff on it. So I wanted to highlight some of the different types of forms. So one, we have a contact page over here. So this is just a basic CRM form that I've embedded onto this contact page. Pretty straightforward, just collecting some information. If someone submits this, it's going to dump their info straight into my CRM. I also wanted to show you real quick what one of those pop-up forms looks like. So here on this blog, there we go. This is what a pop-up form could look like. So it's just like a simple email and a name, and maybe like a little veiled threat to get them to fill that out. That's always good. So that's what you can build with Zoho campaigns. And then, another example here, I didn't really spend pretty much any time on this, so this looks a little ugly, but this is a form I built in Zoho Forms, embedded it onto this website. And basically you just fill this out And the idea is that then it takes you to like a case study that's in PDF form, or you could send someone a video. So one idea of how you can use forms to collect leads is, besides just having a simple contact form, offer people something. Give them access to a recorded webinar, or give them access to an ebook. This is a really common way to use your website to collect leads. If you give people information that they want that's going to be valuable to them, then they'll be more likely to want to give you their contact info. So now let's jump over to Zoho Forms and take a look at how we can build such a thing. Okay, so it looks like nobody has been screaming at me, so I can proceed on. All right, so this is Zoho Forms. How do we build a form? We hit New Form. We give it a name. I'll just call this Webinar Form because I'm not feeling very creative. All right, I hit Create, and then it gives me this blank canvas where I just drag and drop to start adding fields onto the form. So I can drag on name, address, phone number, and email, let's say. So this is a basic contact form. What's nice to know is that each one of these field types that we have, it can be customized based on what it is. So for instance, email field, I can set this to allow any domain, so any email ending after the @ symbol, or I could set it to restrict or only allow certain ones. So if I wanted to make sure people are entering in like their business domain, then I could restrict it and say, I'm not going to accept Gmail or an Outlook domain. It has to be like a custom domain name. Or if it's like a form that is only meant to be filled out by employees, I could say only allow at my company's domain. Address, I can choose which things I actually want to collect here. So if I know country is not going to be relevant because everyone is going to be in the same country who sees this, I can just turn it off. And so each field that you add on is going to have options based off of what that field is. Pretty straightforward. Also, this page break field, I just want to point out right here, if you're looking to do like a multi-page form, then you would just drag this on, and then it creates a new page, and you can add fields onto that too. So, I'll just add on like a website, for instance. All right, so now there's 2 pages. Let's take a look at a couple other things. So one, we can add rules to our forms. So a rule is just basically like going to determine which fields we show people or which page we direct someone to, that kind of thing. And it's all done through drag and drop too. So for instance, if somebody enters, I don't know, they say that they're from a particular industry, for example, on a contact form, then I might ask a different set of follow-up questions to learn more about what their business is doing. That's one example of how you could use this. Or if it was like a support context, if someone's unhappy, I'm going to want to ask different things than if they are happy when they're filling out like a review of how their support experience went. So that's what you can do with rules. It's just pretty much, if this field has some kind of value in it, then do this thing. That's how it works. All right, settings. We'll just kind of really briefly talk about this. One thing I want to point out is the acknowledgement and redirects. So using a redirect, what that means is just once somebody fills out the form, we can take them to another place. So maybe we could take them to another form, or we could take them to a certain page on our website. Or what we can even do is just have like a thank you message or a splash message that shows up. So this is a good way to create gated content where you're saying, I'll give you something if you fill this out. Another really popular setting that a lot of people end up using is email notifications. So you can send out an automated email as soon as somebody fills this out that just says, hey, thank you, I received this, I'll get back to you in X amount of time, that kind of thing. Or you can make the email notification just go to you. So if you're not going to be checking Zoho Forms all the time, that's another way you can get notified anytime someone fills this out. You can also do this with text messages, but the caveat there is that if you want to do a text message notification, then you have to connect to a SMS gateway. So basically they're providers, and you would have to sign up and pay for them for a certain number of credits in order to set something like that up. So I saw earlier somebody asked about merging data. So I'll briefly explain this one. One of the really cool things you can do with Zoho Forms is that you can take all of your data and feed it or merge it into a template document. So if I have like a template contract that I want to send all of my customers, and then maybe I'll hand that customer a form and say, all right, fill this out and we'll send you a contract. And then that contract, it's automatically going to take their name or their company name or whatever other pieces of information and insert that into all of the relevant places into the contract. And so we can do that using this Zoho Writer document merge. Writer, of course, is included in Zoho One. And then also what's really cool is if you have Zoho One, you also get access to Zoho Sign. So when you set that up, you can also incorporate signing into the process. So you can both generate the document using data from the form and send it out for a legally valid e-signature collection all in one go, which is pretty cool. So I don't really have enough time to cover exactly how you do that in depth. It is fairly straightforward. What you'll just want to remember, you go into the settings for your form, go down to document merge, and then hit configure, and it'll walk you through the steps. And basically, you're just clicking, you paste in your document, and then any place where you want to merge in data, you just click on which field you want, and it'll drop in this little snippet that tells it to merge that data in. All right, themes. So one of the best reasons to use Zoho Forms as opposed to campaigns or CRM forms is the themes. So these base themes, I think, are a little ugly, if I'm being honest. But, there's a good selection of stuff to at least get you started with a theme. But you can customize these completely. So that's what's actually really cool. So when I hit customize, there's a drop down with all these different parts of it that I can mess with. So if I want to mess with like the background, maybe I can give it kind of like a pattern and then apply a color. This is kind of a crazy color, but I can play with it. I can adjust the fonts. So if I go into the form, maybe the header, and then go to font, I can make this Times or Georgia, I don't know, whatever I want it to be. There's actually a whole bunch of different fonts, so we give you these basic ones, but if you hit manage fonts, there's a heck of more fonts to choose from in all these different categories. And so the idea is that we give you a lot of flexibility to try and match your brand style. You can control how every single little part of this looks. It's all done through drag and drop. You can add in images to forms, etc. So, I'll apply this ugly like lime green wallpaper thing, and we'll move ahead here. So that's customizing the form. And then the last big thing I want to talk about with Zoho Forms is the integrations. So this is where it gets really, really powerful, actually. So over on the left, we list all of the different things that it integrates with. Most of these are Zoho apps, although not all of them. We also have like Microsoft Teams, Zapier, Salesforce, those are added in here too. So if I want to build my form in Zoho Forms, but also have it dump into Zoho CRM, I just go to Zoho CRM, hit integrate, and then I choose which module is it going into. So probably it's going to be leads, but sometimes it might be contacts, depending on how your CRM is set up. So I'll just choose leads for now. And then what's really important to make sure you get right is the field mapping. So basically this is just saying, hey, there's fields in Zoho CRM, those are on the left, and then there's fields from this form in Zoho Forms, those are over on the right. And whatever data we want to push into CRM, we have to match up over here. So because I added in that name field earlier, I can add in the last name, and then I can just add whatever other fields I want to push. So maybe sometimes there's fields where you don't want it to update the CRM, but it's fine to just collect it in Zoho Forms. Then you just wouldn't map them. That's pretty much how this works. And then also what's cool is it's showing me this little red asterisk. So it's saying, hey, your CRM is set up so the last name is a mandatory field for leads. Do you want to set that as mandatory on your form? So it'll prompt you to do that, which is pretty cool as well. And then the other thing you'll want to pay attention to when you're doing this and dumping into CRM is the actions. So this is basically saying what's going to happen once we move this thing over to Zoho CRM. So for instance, workflow. If you have a CRM workflow rule or an automation setup, so every time a new lead is added into your system, you want something to happen, you'll want to make sure that's checked so that workflow, it still applies. Unless it's maybe a workflow that is meant for other types of leads. I don't know. It's up to you. If you're using the Google AdWords integration with CRM, then you can capture Google AdWords integration. You just have to paste in a little code snippet on the page where you put this form. But that allows you to capture, if this is a landing page, which Google ad did they click to get them onto this form. So that helps you track the ROI of your Google Ads campaigns. Another one that is important to pay attention to is Upsert Record. So this is an insane name. Basically what it means is, do I want to update people in the CRM based off of what they enter in here? So probably, depending on what you're doing, you would want to turn this on and then decide whether you're going to overwrite empty field values. So this is an important thing to pay attention to. So if you have this turned on, and somebody doesn't fill out one of the fields, but they do fill out their email, it'll go, okay, I see this person's already in the CRM because they have the same email, but they didn't fill out the phone number field. And so now I'm just going to overwrite their phone number in Zoho CRM with a blank phone number. So be very careful about using this. Basically, it's a useful thing to turn on, but you just want to make sure that any essential information that is going on this form is marked as a mandatory field. So that way they don't wipe out their phone number. Sometimes this can be really useful because you want the customer to be able to update their own information in your CRM. So that's called Upsert Record. You can also add a tag. So if you want everyone who comes through a certain form to just have a tag, it can be a tag coming from something they entered, or it can just be, came from dumb form. You can write whatever tag you want to tag that person with. And then also assignment rules. You can choose, who do I want to assign this person to in the CRM? Is it going to go to a certain rule that I've already set up? So usually people will have some kind of round robin rule for distributing all of their leads to make sure every sales rep gets an even amount. You can set up different rules in the CRM and then choose which rule you want to go off of here. So that is all I'm going to show you for now for Zoho Forms. It looks like, okay. Somebody asked, only one integration running at a time. No, you can have as many integrations going at once as you want. Okay. Some of these questions I may have to get back to you guys at the end. I don't really have time to stop the session and finish all of this in 1 hour. But these are good questions. And if we don't have time to get to everyone's question, we can also email you whoever we don't get to. All right. So actually, I'm going to switch back to my slide deck real quick. Okay. So uses for forms. This covers some of the things you can do with various integrations, some of the ways you can use forms. So collecting leads, that's kind of the obvious one. Another one is identifying people with SalesIQ. So that's the next app I'm going to demo. But basically, using SalesIQ, we can go in there and drop a little cookie. And then next time that person's back on your site, you're going to know who they are because they filled out a form the first time they were on your site. Dynamic document generation, we talked about that. You can also use forms to integrate with other apps. Like if you want to have people submit help tickets or apply for a job, or if you just want to use a simple form to add a task to a project, that's all doable. Okay, so the way that you embed forms, you design it, and then at the end, Zoho generates an embed code, which you just copy and paste into your website builder. There are a few exceptions to this rule. Basically, Like if you're using WordPress or things like that, sometimes we have a plugin which makes it a little easier so you don't have to go through that. If you built your site on Zoho Sites, we just already have our applications integrated. So you just build your form in whatever tool you're using, and then you drag it onto your site using the Zoho Sites interface. So next, let's talk about capturing leads through chat. I am going to talk about Zoho SalesIQ, which is the tool that allows you to do this. So SalesIQ has a lot of different things it can do. It can track people as they move through your website. It's not really meant to be an analytics tool, though, so we'll talk about that more later. The main thing you use SalesIQ for is to put a live person on the other end of your website. So basically, if you think of like a static website, that's pretty much like giving someone a phone tree to go through that's all like automated and robotic. It can give them information. It's just not necessarily very fun or easy for them to navigate through it. If you have SalesIQ, that's like the shortcut button when you're on a phone tree where it says, let me talk to a live person instead of a robot. That's what SalesIQ can give you. But also, this is a little more complicated than that because SalesIQ does have the ability to add a bot onto your website. Basically, people use it for two things mostly. It's to provide really fast support, answer questions, and then to increase sales when prospects are most likely to buy. So when someone's on your site, that's when they are a very warm lead, usually. And so it's good to try and engage them. So let's take a look at how SalesIQ looks. So I'm just gonna, let's just choose my entire screen. Wow, crazy. All right, so this is the SalesIQ interface here. So this is what I see as an agent or an operator of Zoho SalesIQ. There's all these rings, and then we see these little flags. Some of them have names, some of them just have numbers. And so each one of these rings represents a different thing, which I can customize. So somebody lands on this outer ring. If someone wants to go to outofline.site, if they have their browser open, they'll show up here in a minute. So once you've been on the site, you'll be in this outer ring, and then the longer you've been on the site, the closer you'll move into the center. And the idea is just basically you can set these rings up so that way once someone has taken actions that indicate they're a hot lead, they'll move closer to the center. All right, great. So a few of you have taken me up on my offer, and now I can see you're all on my website. You're all in the US, it seems. Oh, we got a Canadian in here. Awesome. That's going to come in handy. Okay, so I can actually like click on one of these and get more information. So this is actually another window I have open where I'm signed in as this customer, Alicia Richards. And so SalesIQ has identified this person has been on the site before. We get a rough location, Austin, Texas. That's where I am right now. We can see even, hey, they're on Chrome and they're using an Apple computer. That's pretty crazy. And then we see the source of their traffic too. So this says direct, which means I just put in the website URL directly. I appreciate you guys trying to chat me, but for the sake of this demo, please let's not do that right now because it'll get a little distracting. It says direct because they just typed in the URL directly, but if they came through like a search, like a Google search or social media, it could also reflect that here as well. All right. And then, I can see a visitor history. So who are all the people that have been on my site recently? I can see missed chats. So I'm not necessarily always online, but I can get back to those later, and I can even assign those to someone who I want to follow up with that person. And then maybe we can just email them or figure out a way to get in touch with them. So that is the basics of what I see from my end. So now let's see what it looks like when we actually start a chat. So I'm going to do that actually over here. All right, let's get rid of that. All right, so now I am acting as Alicia Richards. I'm on the website, and we see this little pink thing. This is the SalesIQ chat widget, which follows me around on the website, and it's telling me people are online. So I can click this, and because it has identified me from earlier, it's got my information saved, but normally this will be blank. I say, hey, is anyone available? And then I accept for the privacy conditions, and it gives me this countdown clock. So now let's jump back over to the operator view. And now I see, okay, I get a little pop-up. Alicia Richards is here, and she has this question. So I hit accept, and I have this automated message, which just gets sent to her before I even type anything. And I can see a bunch of information about this person. So I have like their phone number, which is being pulled in from Zoho CRM. I can see which page in our website they're on and even open that up if I want to get a look at it. More information, I can see recent campaigns. So they were sent an email through Zoho campaigns. And then we have Zoho Desk and CRM info on the right. So here's more CRM info. I can customize what I want to show here. And Zoho Desk, which is our help desk software, that information also shows up as well. So I can see recent tickets. So if they've submitted support requests to our help team, and those are associated with this customer, those will show up here. And then I can even click on one of these, and it will open up Zoho Desk and show me the said ticket. So I have a lot of information just at my fingertips right away about who is this customer, what do they want. If I want to chat with them, I can just write back, yeah, what do you want? Maybe I should be more polite, but that's kind of just the way I roll. Right. And then we go back over to their view. They can, blabber away, say their question. A couple other cool things. One is I could enable this calling feature. So I could actually do an audio call with this customer if I want. Another Canadian has showed up. I'm going to ignore them. But as an operator, I could say like, hey, want to talk about this on a call? And then just hit the call button if they give me their consent, and it will ring them. You can probably hear that. So here it is on their side showing that they're calling, and I'm not going to pick it up because it will create an insane echo screech thing. But that's SalesIQ in a nutshell. It just allows you to talk with people live, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of configure SalesIQ for your needs. So a lot of people, when they first see this, they go, yeah, this is great, but I'm not going to have someone available 24/7 on my website. So what do I do? You have a bunch of control through the settings in SalesIQ over when does that chat widget appear, which pages on your website does it appear on, when will it show that someone is available versus not available, and that kind of thing. And then also, I just wanted to show this one more time. So as an operator here, it has me marked as available, but if I suddenly want to go offline, I can just click this toggle, and then it will show that I am no longer available. So we've got an international audience here. I'm seeing a few other flags. That's pretty cool. This is always an exciting tool to show people because I think, there's just like a lot of stuff that people go, wow, I had no idea you could do such things. So that is SalesIQ in a nutshell. And the other thing I wanted to point out about SalesIQ is, let's actually end this chat here. So I'll end this. As the customer, I can give a rating. So I can say whether this was a good or a bad experience. It was good. And then that can be tied back into my help desk system, which is cool. But then also, it'll add people into Zoho CRM along with the history of their visit once they're done. So if I go into Zoho CRM here and I go to leads, sorry to put you on blast here, but Blair, who filled this out earlier, is already in my CRM. I'll hide your email, even though a bunch of people probably already saw it. So it's instantly adding people into the CRM. And then if we go and look up Alicia Richards, that customer that I was pretending to be earlier, and we click on their record in the CRM, we can go to their visit history, and oh no, this is probably a different Alicia Richards. I do this all the time because I have 500 Alicia Richards in my account. But anyways, it'll add in once they're offline. Oh yeah, see, we just added another Alicia Richards. it'll add in a visit history for each person who chats with you through SalesIQ and then tie that to their record. So that's pretty cool. And then also what you can do in the CRM, which makes this even better, is you can trigger a sales process off of information from that visit. And so that visit is going to record what's the first page they landed on. Did they come from a particular source or not? Which pages did they look at? Those kinds of things. And so then I can start a sales process that says, okay, well, everyone who chatted with me, who came to my website from a particular source, send them this follow-up email. And that, allows you to get really specific with how you target people and communicate with people using Zoho CRM. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, come back over here. So uses for live chat, we got that covered. If we have time at the end, I'll go back and show you the bots if you guys really, really want to see a bot. The reason that I'm not going to show it now is because we're short on time, but also bots does take a certain amount of like coding expertise to set up. So it's not really like a drag and drop builder to get a bot going at this point in time, which means for a lot of people, they either have to have like some kind of in-house development expertise or hire a Zoho partner to build a bot. So it's not going to be relevant to everyone who's here. So SalesIQ installation, this is the part where you maybe want a screenshot. These are short links that would show you how you install it depending on where you're coming from. This lists a whole bunch of different site builders and has separate instructions for each of them once you open that link up right there. But again, if you came in late, the slide deck will be sent to you at the end. So next, let's talk about web portals. So there's a few different types of web portals. The first one is a payment portal with Zoho Books. So the payment portal lets you do a bunch of cool stuff. So first thing, you can share estimates with your clients and have them accept and sign those through their portal. Clients can log in and pay invoices so they can see all of the things they owe and whether or not they've paid. They can download and print these things if they want. And then also you can set this up to share project details with your clients and even have them approve timesheets. So this is a screenshot showing what it looks like, but why look at that when we can look at the live thing instead? So I'm going to switch back over to screen share one more time. And great. So, all right, I'm logged in as Alicia Richards, the customer, and I already have an account on the payment portal for this business. So I'm just going to come to their website and hit payment portal. And I happen to already be logged in. So this is what I would see. So first thing, outstanding invoices. How much do I owe? Do I have any credit? No, doesn't look like it. I can see my last payment and then some account details. If I update my information, like I have a new billing address, I change my phone number or something, that will update it in my Zoho system. So that's pretty awesome. Over on the left, I could come down here and see estimates. So maybe you might just use this for some of your most exclusive clients, but I can share estimates through the portal. And then I can come in here, I can comment and go, this sucks, dog. Give me a discount. Oh, well, that was an unfortunate typo. And then, that'll show up in the system. I can accept this and then integrate it with Zoho Sign and a signing process. Invoices. So I can see I have one invoice that has been paid. What were the details? What did I buy again? Oh, yeah, it was this big fat service. And then I can see all these other ones that are hecka overdue. So I can check out the details here. I can leave a comment. And then if I hit pay now, then it'll take me to choose which way I want to pay. And so with Zoho Books, you can control what your payment options are, but this could be like PayPal, it could be ACH payments, or it could just be someone's paying you with like a credit card or a debit card. And so you can control which options are available for even down to the invoice level. Projects, I'll just show you this real quick. So I can come in here and take a look at this project. And if I choose to turn this on, then yeah, I can see as a customer, I can see all the tasks how many hours have been logged for these various tasks. I can see their timesheet entries. I can see a comment from them that says they're ahead of schedule. Cool. And then statement of accounts. So this can just be the complete history of my interactions with this customer. So that's what the payment portal looks like. I will stop sharing that and come back over here to the slide deck. This is a screenshot just showing like how people can pay through various methods if you turn all of those on. This is a screenshot showing the ability to approve and reject timesheet entries, which is an option that you can set up for this. Then the next portal I want to talk about is the support portal. So this is offered through Zoho Desk. And so Zoho Desk's portal, it allows you to search through help articles, allows you to add in a forum, and then have people submit tickets and check up on the responses to those tickets. And of course, you can also add in the live chat tool as well. So here's an example of what your support portal might look like. So somebody can just come in and search, and if you write like help articles, it'll automatically make that like a searchable database for you. That is super convenient for your customers. This is what the forums look like. So you can choose whether or not you want to turn that on. And then you can also have this all integrates with Zoho Desk as your help system. So you can automatically have tickets get made when people submit certain types of posts in your community forum, and then make sure you follow up and respond with those. Or, you can just make it open-ended and leave it as a place for your customers to discuss things with each other. So the next portal I want to talk about is the Zoho Sites member portal. So I know probably most of you have actually not built your website on Zoho Sites, but you still might be kind of interested in this just for the sake of being able to build like a microsite. So what it does is it just allows you to have like a gated content on your website. So you can create just certain pages that are private on your Zoho site, or you can make an entire Zoho site private. You can make it invite only. So if you want something that's just for your employees, for instance, or just for your vendors, or you can allow people to just sign up and anyone can sign up to see it. This integrates with the CRM as well. So you can have people sign up, it'll collect their information in your CRM, and then you can have them that can unlock like a whole section of your website with a whole bunch of content. So rather than just doing like a form that gives you one ebook, you can kind of do a different sort of thing there, maybe a whole library of content. You can have different types of members with different levels of permissions. What this is good for, employee portals, sharing information with like top customers. If you're delivering services to your customers, maybe the most the customers you do business with that are the best, you give them access to a portal, and that's where you can share documents and progress with whatever is happening for their project. Another cool thing about this, you can have Facebook and Google logins to your portal. So that's pretty awesome because it means, hey, people might not want to set up an account separately just for your website. But if you allow for a Facebook and Google login, then maybe they'll be more likely to sign up. Okay, and then another one is the careers page and candidate portal, which is offered through Zoho Recruit. So Zoho Recruit is a candidate tracking system. It allows you to deal with listing job openings and collecting candidates and following up with everyone. People can upload their resumes and their cover letters and apply for jobs using this portal, and then track the status of, did you get back to them? Were they accepted? That kind of thing. So there's a couple versions of this. If you're a large company, you'd probably just use the business version. Also, we have a version of Zoho Recruit, which is meant for recruitment agencies. And so then you could be posting job openings for multiple businesses on there. We can go back to this later if you guys really want to see it, but I want to be able to have time to talk quite a bit about page sense. So I'm just going to kind of move ahead here and not demo that one for now. All right, how do portals work? Portals have a slightly different process than the last two apps I showed you. So with Forms and SalesIQ, it's generating a code snippet, which you paste onto your website, and bam, that puts your form, that puts your chat widget onto your website. With portals, the process is a little bit different because Zoho is actually hosting and creating the entire portal for you and managing all the logins and all that stuff. So to add it onto your website, usually what's done is a subdomain of your main domain gets mapped to the portal. I know that can be kind of confusing what that actually means if you're not actually like the webmaster for your organization. But basically, it means like if your website is example.com, then you might make using your domain host, you can set up a thing where you also have payments.example.com. So that's a subdomain off your main domain. And then basically you just add in some settings, and that redirects people who go to that link to your Zoho portal. And so it'll still show your domain when someone is accessing the portal. So it feels like it's a part of your website and not just, hey, now I'm on this Zoho thing. What is this? Is my information safe? But that's just basically how it works. Each application, each Zoho app that has a portal, it's going to have its own sort of like help process or instructions for how you set up this subdomain mapping if you want to do that. All right, so this is the last section, and then I will get to whatever the unanswered questions are that I can cover. So I want to talk about analytics and optimization. So this is all going to be about a tool called Zoho PageSense. So with Zoho PageSense, there's several things you can do. One is you can track goals. So a goal just means you can set up a specific thing and specific action you're wanting people to do on your website, and then track whether it's successful. And this is a really good way to kind of isolate variables when you're trying to get people to do a certain thing. So if you want people to fill out a certain form, you want people to go to a certain page, you want people to sign up for a certain thing, these are all common goals. Maybe you just want people to click on a certain link. And then being able to track over time how many people have done that particular thing allows you to then figure out, okay, well, is this page design that I just rolled out serving me, or is it actually just making things more confusing or complicated on my users, right? It's a good way to just sort of get a metric for how things are going with your website. Is your design working well? Another thing you can do with PageSense is you can visualize interactions. So there's a few different ways you can do this. One is with heat maps. So with a heat map, what you're seeing is like these big splotchy colors that get overlaid onto your website. And that's just showing you where are people actually clicking a lot on a particular page. So it's an easy way to just visualize when I'm looking at this page, where are my customers actually paying attention? Where is their attention being drawn to based off of where they're clicking on the page? And then another similar idea is the scroll map. So a scroll map shows you basically how far down is someone making it on a page on average. So this is always kind of sad to look at because you spend all this time building a big, beautiful website, and then you scroll like halfway down the page and you look at your scroll map and you go, oh, wow, it turns out only 20% of people have even attempted to scroll down at all on this page. So it allows you to see basically, do I need to reorganize where content is laid out on my website? Do I need to move something to the top that is important that a lot of people are missing? And then another thing is the funnel analysis. So this really just allows you to see how are people moving through your website. So a funnel analysis, you can set up a funnel of, I want someone to land on this landing page, and then after that, I want them to go here, and then finally, they should be on the checkout buying my product, right? You can set up different types of funnels for whatever different pathways you hope people are taking, and then you can track the drop-off rate of how many people are falling off on this pathway, and then figure out, okay, are there certain things I can do to optimize this? Why are people not getting from point A to point B? Is it because I need to make this button more obvious? Is it because I don't even need this page to begin with and I can just start on step 2? That's what a funnel analysis can tell you. And then we also have form analysis, which gets real detailed. And this is basically, you have some kind of form on your website that you want to optimize. PageSense allows you to see, are there any hangups on your form? So do people keep, clicking in a certain thing, certain field on your form, and then not actually filling it out? Or how many people come back to a field later on? It gives you an idea of how long they spend filling out each field. So this gives you a really good idea of, if you have like a long form that people are filling out, where are they getting stuck? What is potentially confusing to them? It allows you to see that pretty clearly. All right. And then you can also optimize your website. So there's several different tools to do this. The one that is probably the best or the coolest is the A/B test or split URL test. So this allows you to create variations on a page and then see which variation performs better. And people often ask me, hey, A/B tests and split URL tests, they seem hecka similar. Why do you have these two things? Basically, an A/B test allows you to edit your page inside Zoho PageSense. So again, this doesn't matter if you're on WordPress or Zoho Sites or whatever. It can be any website builder. But that page builder or that editor that we give you in PageSense, it's really just meant for making small, simple changes. So if you want to test like, hey, does making this button a different color get more people to click it? Does changing out an image cause this page to perform better? Or does switching out like a certain title on my page get more people convinced that they should sign up? That's a really good candidate for an A/B test. It's a simple thing to change. There's one variable you're testing for. You can do it all in PageSense super easily. A split URL test, that's like if you want to make a huge change and see if that makes a difference. So with a split URL, it's like, okay, I have two completely different versions of the layout for this page. Which one is going to perform better? Or instead of just changing out like one little title, maybe I have two entirely different versions of messaging on the page. That's when you can do a split URL. And basically what it does is once somebody goes to a certain page, it'll send some people who land on that URL to one page, and it'll send some of them to another page. And so you build the different variations in your website builder if you're using a split URL test. So you're not going to use a Zoho tool then. You would just be, I'm going to build two separate pages on my WordPress. I'm going to make this test to link people half of the time to one, half the time to the other. That's how that works. All right, and then there's personalization in PageSense. So personalization allows you to make a long-term customization on a page. So those of you who are in Canada, if you scroll down to the bottom of outofline.site and you look at those customer testimonials, you will see actually different quotes on those customer testimonials that say, I am an authentic Canadian customer and I love Out of Line. That's because I set up a personalization that just says anyone looking at this page from Canada should see my Canadian testimonials. And maybe anyone who's looking at it from the US will see American testimonials, right? So you can personalize the same page depending on who's looking at it. So personalization is similar to like an A/B test because it's creating different variations of a page. But the idea is that personalization is like a long-term thing. So an A/B test is to try and learn which works better. Personalization is, I already know what's going to work better, and I just want to show these people one thing and those people another thing. So that's what you can use that for. Just kind of reiterating that on that slide. Okay, and then last couple things on PageSense here. So one, we have polling included, so you can actually add polls onto your website that will pop up only on certain pages, only to certain people, only at certain times. And so that's a good way to just kind of ask for qualitative feedback. A good example of this, Part of the reason I'm doing this webinar right now is because we added a poll onto one of our webinar pages that asked people, hey, what topics do you want to see covered? And we noticed a lot of people wrote about adding onto their website or building a website. That's why I'm doing this webinar today. So it is really useful to just ask your audience for qualitative or quantitative feedback. Another cool thing, you can do a word map with these polls. So if you just have like a text box rather than a multiple choice, sometimes it's hard to get an idea of what are most people talking about in here. So in this example, it's like asking what prevented you from buying this product. And then we see shipping is like huge on here because a lot of people said something bad about the shipping. So at a glance, that gives you a way to kind of sort through the qualitative feedback, which is pretty nifty. If you want to install Zoho PageSense, it works with a code snippet. So similar to SalesIQ, you use a code snippet, installation instructions right here, zoho.to/ps-install. All right, so I'm going to do the short little recap, and then we'll try and get to some more of those questions. So there are 3 types of applications, 3 types of forms you can build. Zoho Campaigns, that's just if you want to add someone to a mailing list. Zoho CRM, that's for simple lead forms, adding people into the CRM. And then we have Zoho Forms, which is going to be your most flexible option with the most amount of control. There's a live chat tool included in Zoho One. It's called Zoho SalesIQ. It allows you to add people into your CRM, record the history of their visits, and then also just see when they come back onto your website the next time. There are 4 main types of portals that we talked about today. So Zoho Books, that's the accounting application in Zoho. That's what gives you that payment portal where people can log in, see all of their estimates, invoices, pay for those things. Zoho Desk, that's what allows you to do the support center where people can submit tickets, search through knowledge base articles, access a forum. Then there's Zoho Recruit. That's going to allow you to do a career portal where people apply for jobs, submit applications, upload resumes. And then Zoho Sites, you can build a members only site or portion of a website using the member portal in Zoho Sites. And then finally, for analytics and optimization, you're going to want to check out Zoho PageSense for all of that stuff. All right, so 2 places you can learn even more besides, going to our other Zoho One webinars, the Zoho Academy. So if you go to zoho.com/academy, this is an amazing resource about the content that you can add onto your website. So with the Zoho Academy, topics covered could be, what makes a good homepage? What should you put on an About Us page on your website? How can you use testimonials throughout your website? What are the best practices for making CTAs or calls to action on your website? So we cover like really specific topics, and these guides are not really about how do I do this in Zoho Sites or, whatever Zoho tool. They're more just about what makes a good website. So they apply to anyone. And then finally, zoho.com/events. You can check this page out. Over on the right-hand side of it, we link to a bunch of different Zoho products that offer webinars. So I talk about Zoho One, which means I know a little bit about every Zoho app, but you can also get webinars specifically from people on these teams. So if you want to just talk about SalesIQ or just talk about PageSense for like 45 minutes to an hour, then there's webinars you can check out that are specific to those things. So thank you all for listening to all of this. I know that was super fast paced, but I had a lot to cover. So now I will just get through these questions as quick as I can, and I may be muting myself in between answering some of these. But thank you all for attending. So you should be getting the recording, and you should be getting the slide deck once this is over, by the way.